This is the Harmony OneCoin 1 month overview for August 2022. It's currently July 26th, 2022 at 9:18 p.m. The overall theme and behavior for Harmony Coin throughout the month of August is going to be multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance. There's a trade opportunity around those resistance levels. Yeah, so multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance. There's a trade opportunity around a support level that stands out, and we'll get into that. It's crossed with the theme card. The interference card is crossed with the moon card. So we have either price swings or a sharp prominent dip that would stand out on a 1 month chart. And from what I can see here, just glancing quickly, is that we have 3 sharp dips, 4 sharp dips to reach month lows or prominent troughs. It looks like month lows, but we have multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance. So really, I think those sharp dips are part of price swings, and that's what we see that moon card there prominent. The moon card also correlates to the month's low correlator. So to me, that's really saying that these sharp dips will bring us to the month's lows. All right, so behavior around the high. So we'll have a rally that increases with momentum moving into the high. The highs are opportunities to sell if you're looking for like swing trades. And they're going to form in the midst of overwhelming headwinds, or seemingly overwhelming headwinds. We may expect it to go down, but the rallies will push it higher into the highs. And the highs are actually, I should say, they're opportunities to position if you can with a Harmony OneCoin. I don't think you can, but if you could position yourself to play both sides, so it goes up, it goes down. You can do that with options and equities. I don't know enough about crypto to be able to tell you if you can do that or not. But with that said, what it does tell me is that because we have a correlation there at least once at a month's high there to Princess of Swords card, that we will see a higher high or we'll see a higher price level and a lower price level likely in the following month based on that information. Behavior around the low, we'll have a breakdown from we'll have a breakdown from a high that we will not revisit within the time frame of, let's say, interesting. In this case, I don't think it's so much that we won't revisit it. I think what happens is the lows are going to form after briefly visiting a high. We go into lows. Okay, I see what's going on here. It threw me off a little bit. Okay, so this is a declining month. This is a declining month for Harmony Coin, based on we have a month's low correlator early in the month, middle of the month, and the end of the month. All those are sharp dips, and we have some highs in here in the midst of these price swings. But my sense is that those highs, we're not. The lows are going to come from highs that we don't revisit. So the first highs, the early highs in the month, namely around, like, let's say around-ish the 4th, 5th, and 6th and 7th of the month, and then again there's highs or prominent crests, I should say in this case, around the 16th and the 17th. Ish, give or take a day or two, guys. It's the sequence of events that's most reliable. The timing on a 1 month can be off a little bit here or there, but for the most part, the sequence of events is very reliable. All right, so let's get into it, guys. So on the first, I'm going to write this down as we're doing it. So on the first, we have a notable move to the upside. It would stand out on a 1 month chart. Looks like we have a decline out of that either at the end of the day on the first or overnight into the early morning on the second, because out of a decline we have a big move to the upside from the bottom of a range to the top of a range. In the midst of the move higher, there's an opportunity to open up, if you could open up protection, I'd recommend doing it in the midst of that move higher, because the following day on the third-ish we have a month's low or prominent trough and month's low correlator here. There's a correlation to a big drop off of what looks like a crest here, and there's a high. Okay, so the local high on the third-ish is going to be the local high is going to be an opportunity. That price level, that resistance level, or that price point, we'll see a higher level and a lower level than that local high that we have on the third-ish. So we come out of a trough, out of a month's trough. So on the second we go higher to the top of a range. On the third we have a drop, sharp drop off of a local high. And by local high, guys, what I mean by local high is if you're looking at a one-day chart, there'll be one prominent high that stands out. So a one-day chart of the third for this example. So a local high there which we'll see a higher price level and a lower price level. So it's kind of like an opportunity point or an important price level to keep aware of. And then we have a drop from that, but a fast sudden move higher, marking the end of a decline there on the third. On the fourth, we have a month's high correlator. There's a breakout there. Looks like an irrational move to the upside. And there's also a swing trade opportunity there. It's in the midst of that irrational move to the upside. So there'll be a breakout there. And then that's the fourth, there'll be a breakout. On the fifth, we have sideways fluctuations with a bullish trend preceding a decline. There's a swing trade opportunity in there in the midst of a sideways, a U-shaped dip. And there's one local low in there really, and that's going to form when we have in the midst of a decline a sudden dip that'll stand out on a one-day chart for the fifth. On the sixth, continued higher. Looks like we either have the same high or a higher high on the sixth, seventh-ish, because there's a rally higher. It looks like the beginning of another rally here on the sixth. But at the high on the sixth, I'm advised to open up some protection because, well, if you could, because there would be that'd be like a top there, and then we start to see a decline off of that. The following day we have a high, it may be slightly higher, but the decline has already started to form here between the sixth and the seventh-ish. And the seventh, really, seems to be overwhelming headwinds that would push it lower, but we move higher. On the eighth, we have there's a lot going on the eighth for Harmony. We've got two local highs, so on a one-day chart of the eighth, there'll be two prominent highs that stand out. There's one local low that will stand out, and there's a day trade opportunity, either the closing of a swing trade and the opening of another, or a day trade opportunity. We'll get into that a little bit closer in a second here. We also have a failed attempt to break through a key resistance point as correlated to the theme card here. So one of the local highs, a ruler of nations, a male ruler of nations will be highlighted around the time when we reach a local high there. And then there's another local high that forms when we have a sharp decline through multiple resistance levels on a one-day chart off of that local high. One of the day trade opportunities takes place when we have a decline through support level to meet a second support level, and then we move around sideways on that support level for a bit. We follow along it. And the other swing trade opportunity also forms near a key support level. This may stand out some other days of the week based on it being the Ace of Discs. Ace of Discs, you can either have like a move higher to create new support or a move lower to reach old support or existing support. But it's all about an important support level. Looks to me like we probably have a trough there on the 8th as well. On the 9th, we have one local high, one local low. The local high forms at a price level where we'll see a higher high and a lower low before the end of September, let's say, to be on the safe side. The overall behavior will be moving sideways along a support level, and then there'll be a sudden dip within that period of sideways rotation. And that sudden dip will bring us to the local low for the day. So the one on a one-day chart for the 9th, the prominent low that stands out will come at the end of a sudden dip. On the 10th, we have what appears to be another crest here. There's sideways rotation that increases with bullish sentiment and momentum as we move forward into the day. One local high on the one-day chart for the 10th. A male ruler's highlighted around that. So somewhere probably on the news or something like that, there's a male ruler involved in the local high on the 10th. One of the day trade opportunities takes place involving a breakdown through a support level to meet a second support level, and then move along sideways along that second support level. And then the other one, it's the Ace of Discs again, another important price level. That's highlighted for the day trade, the second trade, and we may have identified by the 8th a price level as the Ace of Discs. By the 10th, it will be much easier for us to determine that price level because we'll have seen it probably twice, or maybe not. We'll see. Chances are it's the same price level. On the 10th, an important resistance level is highlighted. We want to make note of that important resistance level. Excuse me, that's on the 11th. So on the 11th, I'll take note of whatever that resistance level is, because that's an important price level to come into play. The 12th, there's an end to a period of sideways rotation marked by a fast sudden move higher at the end of that rotation, and it's almost irrational move to the upside. It also is highlighted by a trade opportunity there in the midst of that move to the upside. A range is highlighted on the 10th, so either the upper end of a range, the bottom of a range, or we're range bound within that day. To get into it closer, I need to see a one-day chart. And then we have an important bottom or trough that forms, a month's bottom or a month's trough that forms here between the 14th and 15th, give or take a day or so. And there's one local high on the 14th, from which we break down through two support levels. We break down through a support level, meet a second support level, move along sideways along that support level, and then we break down through multiple support levels out of that high. The one local low for the day on the 14th on a one-day chart of Harmony coin is going to be a fast sudden move to the upside, followed by a breakdown through a diagonal trend line that we were rallying along, and it's like the end of the rally there. And then we have a low correlator here on the 15th. So because we have this death card that's also a prominent low, very likely this is the low for the month. Very likely this is a low on the 14th, 15th-ish. It could carry over a little bit, but we do have crests or prominent high correlators here at the beginning of the 16th and the 17th. On the 16th, we have a fast sudden move higher, like a notable rally on a 1 month chart. It'll stand out on the 16th, 17th, probably both days. It may even start out of the 15th, but the 15th, there's a sharp dip. I left this out. There's a sharp dip to reach that low, so that goes with it, in line with what we were talking about early on in this reading. A sharp dip to reach the month's lows, and so we have a correlator here to the moon card, another sharp dip that'll stand out on a 1 month chart to a prominent trough, or what I believe will be the month of August's low here on the 15th-ish, 14th, 15th-ish. And then the big move to reach a new prominent high or crest for the month here on the 16th, 17th. That rally marks an opportunity. If you could short the if you could short coins of Harmony, it'd be an opportunity to do so in the midst of that rally on a long-term basis, because we have another low here at the end of the month. So those 2 days mark 2 day trade opportunities. We have both of them have similar things. There's a fast sudden move higher, almost irrational move to the upside, involved in one of the day trades for both days, and then another day trade in each day is highlighted by a U-shaped dip. The local low that you'd see on a 1 day chart for the 16th is formed when we have a sudden dip within a period of decline. And the prominent high that we go into on the, it looks like we probably go higher on the 17th. The rally continues into the 17th. We go higher on the 17th. Same thing goes for the local low on the 17th. Out of a decline, there's a sudden dip in a period of decline. And then on the 18th-ish, we have one local high on the chart. It'll be a opportunity, or it'll be an important resistance level, at which point in the future, let's say by the end of September, maybe sooner, there's a higher price level and a lower price level. So that's important to notate that price level there on the 18th, that resistance level there, because that'll be important later on. Let's see if I missed any tests of resistance thus far. We talked about the one on the 8th. Also a cash-in opportunity here at the end of this high, an opportunity to sell on a swing trade basis. If you're doing like a month-to-month type of thing, probably a good opportunity to sell. Okay, so we're good. We didn't miss any other correlations thus far. All right, so on the 18th, we have volatility that increases with, let's say, volatile momentum as we move forward in the day. There's two local lows that stand out and one local high that stands out on a one-day chart for the 18th. Again, that local high will be a price level to keep in mind, because it'll be important moving forward at some point. We'll see a higher and a lower price level, so it'll be important information to put the puzzle together for trade purposes. And then the local lows, one forms when we have a notable move to the downside. It'll stand out on a one-day chart. And then the other move, there will be an attempt to establish support at another low. It'll be like we do establish support at another low. And those are the local lows on the 18th. On the 19th, it's possible that we have a trough. I get like kind of like a very delicate energy here on the 19th. It's very subtle, but it's possible that we have like a month's trough or something that stands out, and out of that we move higher along a diagonal trend line, breaking through horizontal resistance to meet a secondary resistance, and then we pull back to somewhere between those two price levels. And the two local highs that you'd see on a chart for the 19th, one again is that price level, that important Princess of Swords price level, and the other local high is going to form near something to do with an important male leader being highlighted. The swing trade opportunity there on the 19th it involves an important support level. On the 18th, excuse me, on the 20th, it's a little fat. On the 20th, we have the Magus card is notably difficult card to read in certain general circumstances, because it has a bullish energy and a bearish energy depending on what surrounding cards are. So my sense is we likely have a move to the upside here. Yes, we have a move to the upside here, because on the 20th we have a correlation to a failed attempt to break through that key resistance. So another key resistance attempt, we fail here on the 20th. It'll stand out, and there's a swing trade opportunity around a support level. One day trade, or excuse me, one local low that stands out on a one-day chart. It'll be a sharp dip within a period of decline into the low. It'll form the low, that sharp dip, and it'll stand out on a one-day chart. On the 21st, we have a move higher through resistance level, followed by a full retracement back down through that same price level. And it's briefly, we stay above that price level briefly, and then we break back down with a full retracement. It looks like we go into a trough, or we have a important low or trough here on the 21st. There's an important support level, I should say, here on the 21st, not necessarily a low. But the local low for the day of the 21st happens when a sharp dip within a period of decline forms it. We also have a swing trade opportunity in the midst of a U-shaped dip. On the 22nd-ish, looks like important support is highlighted here on the 22nd. It looks like we established support, possibly a new support, a higher support, maybe temporarily here between like the 22nd and the 24th, 25th. Let's say 24th. On the 22nd, we have a failed attempt to break through a resistance level that we all expect to break through, followed by a decline through key support level. There's one local high that forms, and from that there's a breakdown to and through a support level to meet a second support. We move along that support sideways for a bit, and then we break down through multiple support levels. On the 23rd, up against that, looks like we're along some price level there at the upper end of a range. It looks like early in the morning on the 23rd, and then multiple headwinds push the stock lower. There's one local high for the one-day chart of the 23rd, and sharp decline out of that local high. Sharp decline out of that local high, actually. Yeah, sharp decline out of that local high, guys. Okay, so it looks like local high there on 22nd-ish, or when we have that failed attempt to break through key resistance. Looks like it's probably towards the end of the day on the 22nd, but we'll have to see when we get there. And that starts a sharp decline that continues through the 23rd and possibly the 24th. Yeah, we meet resistance, important resistance there on the 23rd, 24th. And then a breakdown through multiple support levels on the 24th, an important support level highlighted in one of the day trades, and a breakdown to and through a support level to meet a secondary support level, and then we move sideways along support. That's highlighted in the other day trade for the 24th. On the 25th, a prominent reversal will stand out. It'll really stand out if you were looking at all the days, the one-day charts of the month. There'll be a notable reversal on the 25th. Not necessarily for the entire month, but it'll be notable for the surrounding days at least. There's one local low that forms when out of a rally along a diagonal trend line, there's a fast sudden move higher marking the end of that rally, and then we break down through that diagonal trend line with increasing volatility on the way down. End of a bullish trend on the 26th. One local high there that forms, highlighting a male ruler of nations, and there's a swing trade opportunity around support there as well. A local high on the 27th. So on a one-day chart of the 27th, we should see one prominent high that stands out, and it'll be in the midst of some erratic behavior back and forth through the same price level. On the 28th, a fast sudden move higher out of a local low. Local low will form when there's a rally along a diagonal trend line that ends with a fast sudden move higher, followed by a breakdown through that same diagonal trend line with increasing volatility as we move down. And then out of oversold territory or a gap down on the 30th, we have a big move to the upside, like to bring us back to a more appropriate price, followed by a fake out on the 30th. Did I miss a day? Excuse me. So this is the 30th. Fake outs on the 30th. That big move to the upside out of oversold territory or out of a gap down or something. There's a big move higher to a more appropriate price level on the 29th. A fast sudden move higher is on the 28th. Sorry about that confusion there. And then we have a fake out and two local lows here on the 30th. So on a 1 month chart, it'll stand out as a fake out. On a 1 day chart, there'll be for the 30th, there'll be again on a 1 month chart, the fake out will stand out, and then on a 1 day chart for the 30th, there's two local lows that'll be prominent. One that forms after a notable decline, it'll stand out on a 1 day chart, and another one when we attempt to establish support around a local low, it'll stand out on a 1 day chart. On the 31st, we have a low correlator, another low for the month, either the lowest low or an equal low. And there's one local high for the day of the 31st. Again, that price level that we'll see a higher high or a higher price level and a lower price level in September. So it's important to mark that high on the 31st. and then 2 local lows that'll stand out on the 31st, a one-day chart. One that forms when we have a sharp dip, another one that forms when we attempt to establish support. There's also a prominent decline there that'll stand out on a 1-month chart based on this correlation to the moon card, which also goes hand in hand with what we were saying at the beginning of the reading, where there's a decline to reach. There's a sharp decline that stands out, meeting the month lows. The sneak preview for the following month, we're going to see a higher price level and a lower price level than we had for those price levels that I indicated to keep track of. There's an important resistance level that'll really stand out. It'll be important. We may break through it. Likely we break through it. In a lot of cases, when we see the science card, it ends up being bullish, where we break through an important price level and it creates an indication that we're going higher. That remains to be seen until I do the September reading, because it could mean a lot of things, but often that's what it'll mean. And I think likely, guys, we're going to see an important low or a sharp decline here around the 21st, 22nd, and then more decline here on the this whole like early 20s. There's a lot of bearish stuff going on, guys. Yeah. Okay. That's Harmony Coin for August 2022. Let me know what you think. If you want to see more Harmony Coin, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so, guys. That's the best way to show support. It takes a lot of time to do these readings. Like this 1 month reading takes hours to extrapolate this information. You can always hit us off if you make money from these readings. Hit us back. Karma's a good thing. Get some karma chips in the bank. Throw us like 3 to 10%, something like that. We're not going to keep track. We're not going to be like, hey, you didn't give us money. No, just be a good guy. Support the channel, because we're doing this all for free. And in order for us to keep this team going, we need that money. So I'll see you guys on the next one. And don't forget, pay it forward, my friends.